Altcoins are anything alternative to Bitcoin. So think Ethereum, Solana, XRP, BNB, plus thousands of other tokens. And every few years, when the market really heats up, something tends to happen. Bitcoin runs first, then the money spreads into the rest of the market. That's what people call altcoin season. In 2021, it felt unstoppable. Tokens that you barely heard of were doubling in weeks. Everyone was trying to identify the next Ethereum, the next breakout chain, the next big thing. But if you've been following altcoins more recently, you've probably noticed something. Bitcoin ran, but a lot of altcoin portfolios didn't follow the same way. Well, that's when the debate started. When is altcoin season? Did we miss it? Is it even real? Instead of arguing about it, let's look at the numbers. Because when you zoom out, the altcoin market today looks very different from 2021. It all starts with Bitcoin dominance. That's simply Bitcoin's share of the total crypto market. Back in 2021, Bitcoin dominance fell hard. Risk appetite was rising and money was moving to other assets. And when dominance falls, money doesn't just leave crypto, it spreads out. First into Ethereum and then to other large caps, then smaller, more speculative tokens. At least that's how it happened in 2021. But the pattern didn't repeat. After that peak, the bear market arrived. Bitcoin fell from around $69,000 to roughly $16,000 through 2022. The whole market got hit, and altcoins were hit even harder. And just when panicked voices were claiming it's all over, the recovery came, and it was swift. By 2024, Bitcoin was making new all-time highs again, helped by stabilizing macro conditions and renewed demand. Now, a big part of that demand may have come from the approval of the Bitcoin ETFs in January 2024. That brought a new wave of capital into Bitcoin, so instead of dominance collapsing again, it moved even higher. By 2025, Bitcoin dominance was approaching roughly 65%, the highest level since 2021, and that's the key. If Bitcoin is taking a bigger share of the market, you don't get the same everything runs altcoin season. But the market didn't disappear, it just got tighter. In 2021, the top 10 altcoins made up around 64% of the total altcoin market. By 2025, that rose to roughly 82%. And the number of those altcoins above $1 billion in market cap dropped from around 105 at the peak of 2025 to closer to 50. So what does this show? Well, fewer names are carrying more of the market. The real question isn't when is altcoin season, it's which alts are currently getting capital now. And the flow data tells us clearly. In 2025, ETH investment products drew nearly $13 billion of inflows. Sol drew roughly $3.6 billion and about 10 times the prior year. And XRP drew about $3.7 billion, around 5 times the year before. But everything else combined drew in around $318 million, down 30%. So capital wasn't spreading across the altcoin market the way it did in 2021. It was concentrating into small groups of large liquid names. And within that small group, actual network utility became the ultimate separator. BNB is where the divergence shows up most clearly. In a year when most large cap tokens pulled back, BNB stayed resilient. Underlying usage suggests why. BNB chain leads major networks in stablecoin activity, with around 14 million monthly active addresses, despite only holding on to around 5% of the total stablecoin supply. Which brings us to stablecoins more broadly, because a lot of capital simply stayed liquid. Some people describe stablecoins as on-chain dollars, when they want to stay in crypto without taking the full risk. That's where capital tends to park. Since September of last year, stablecoin supply grew around $23 billion, reaching roughly $370 billion as of February 2026. That's not money leaving crypto. If anything, that's the clearest sign that people are staying in, but just waiting for the right moment. This may well be the real altcoin story right now. The market is still massive, over $1 trillion, just concentrated differently than before. And with billions sitting on the sidelines waiting to be deployed, we'll keep following the data to see where it goes. And if you want to follow along, make sure you're subscribed.